Stefan Wilson. I'm from the school newspaper. And what is your name?
Caroline Schmid. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. What do you teach, and what is your degree that you're teaching?
Okay. Well, I have a master's in dance and choreography, and here at FSCJ I teach Pilates, yoga, and dance appreciation. This semester I'm primarily teaching dance appreciation and yoga.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you get your education at again, and how long have you had this appreciation for dance?
Okay. Well, I was raised in Washington, D.C., and when I was just before I was 13, a performing arts school opened there called Duke Ellington School of the Arts. It was one of the first ones in the country. They had an audition for over 300 students, and they chose a select number. I don't remember how many students, and I was one of the chosen one. So I went to a performing arts high school. From there, I did go to New York and studied at the Ailey School. Several summers I received scholarships there, and from there I worked with small companies in Philadelphia, where I also went to college to get my bachelor's at University of the Arts. I got married somewhere in between dancing and working for several small companies. My husband relocated here because he works for the military, but he's a civilian, civil servant, so he works at the Jacksonville Mayport as a engineer of shipbuilding. So we relocated here and raised our family here. In the meantime, I went back to school and got my master's at JU. So I have a master's in dance and choreography.
And you brought your talents to FSCJ?
Yes.
It's very wonderful. So tell me a little bit about in each of your classes, like just give me a little intro and how you connect with students in those classes.
Okay. Well, in the dance appreciation course, I really find it's important to not just have conversation back and forth with the students, but really to try to encourage them to have a voice, because even though dance is a silent art form, there's no talking involved, it is necessary that we are verbal. So they have to really take advantage of their writing skills, because I find that no matter what, it translates. If you can't speak well or write well, and you have difficulties expressing yourself, whether it's through dance or writing, you're not going to be able to make it in the world. So I find that it's very important to try to encourage the students to write and to be wordy, and I encourage them in their work.
Very powerful, very powerful. Tell me a little bit about your music appreciation class.
My course is a dance appreciation course, and we do touch on music. They're introduced to all different kinds of music. We don't just sit and talk about dance. Like I said, I bring live movement in. If the bodies are willing, we will move. I move the class if they want to. You know, we can do a little folk dance, and they really appreciate it. Students will get up, and I say, okay, this is a dance that they did, you know, in the early 18th century, and this is where ballroom started, and you know, they learn how to do a simple waltz, and they appreciate it. One class I had more males, which was surprising to me, than girls, and the guys were so eager to dance. We came upstairs, because for the dance appreciation class, we're typically in a room with computers. We came upstairs every time they asked. They wanted to learn how to do some of those Latin dances like the bachata, and I get all different types of people in the class. So I had assistants where there was someone in the class that actually knew, and not just the history, but could help assist with the dancing. We had a great time. Another time I taught them a traditional African dance, and everyone had a great time. And just walking through the space in here gets them to learn about the theater and what is, you know, movement, you know, which is what I do best anyway.
How long have you been with FSCJ?
For 5 years. But I remember when this school was built, and there was a teacher that was here by the name of Rosemary Fletcher, and she was always trying to get me to come over and teach ethnic dance. And it's now called World Dance. But at that particular time in my life, I did not have my master's, so she couldn't hire me. So it wasn't until at a much later period that they were able to hire me. Because I've lived in this town for, over 20 years. So I've watched this college, and I'm so proud of Jacksonville for having this school. I've watched this school grow. I remember when it was a shopping mall.
So this was a shopping mall?
This was a shopping mall, and it was a small family that had this. It was a family-owned business. It was called Jacobson's, and it was a very unique store. It was high price, but it was a nice store, very nice store.
Okay, so FSCJ is a whole of all campuses and everything, but where do you find yourself where you fit in the most, where you like to interact with students the most? Is it here at this campus, or?
I don't know. I just have really fallen in love with Deerwood. The energy here is so much different, I think, and the students have really welcomed me here. The dean has welcomed me here. I think that Deerwood is my home. I love all the campuses. South Campus is actually closer to my home, but for some strange reason, I feel that like I fit in a lot better here.
Clubs or organizations?
Well, no one has asked me this term, but last term I helped out with the Spanish club. Actually, it was called the Latin Club, and we got together and tried to do a little bit of Latin dancing, which was great. I've also helped out with a program called Healing Arts. And it was one of the teachers who asked me to come in and do a small demonstration on authentic movement for the students. And it was very powerful, where a lot of people got together and just was able to move naturally and let the movement help them to express how they were feeling and to just release some tension. It was really wonderful.
Was that here on this campus?
It was here on this campus, yes it was.
Very interesting. I heard about that.
Yeah. Now, I forget the instructor that hosted it, but it was called Healing Arts. It was a whole series, so there's a lot going on here. I think everybody just needs to pay attention. They did it with music and dance, the whole thing, and I was asked to do the dance portion of it. I was so happy that they asked me. So.
Which dances and eras of dance?
I think I just want them to be open to all forms of art and dance, and to realize that we're all people and that we have to be appreciative of everyone's culture. There's so much. We don't just talk about one particular aspect of the dance. We talk about the fact that dance is a part of us and that it exists in every culture. And so I start off by trying to make everyone understand that someone else's movement is different, and the reason why it's different, and how we can appreciate it, and why some people move this way. It's easier for them to move this way than others. It's not that one can do it better or not. You can still learn it if that's your choice, but for them to understand that we have differences because of who we are culturally.